The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Bitcoin mining has increased to 56% sustainable energy consumption in the second quarter of this year, according to a survey by the Bitcoin Mining Council. And joining us now with more is Jaime Leverton, CEO of Canadian mining firm Hut 8, which is a member of the council. Welcome to the show, Jaime. So we see that the BMC conducted a voluntary survey from miners that represent about 30% of the global Bitcoin network. They found that participants in the survey are currently using electricity with a 67% sustainable power mix. And that's really encouraging, but maybe incomplete for a more wider picture of the network because only 30% participated, and it's miners that actually care about clean, sustainable energy initiatives. Is that fair?
Well, I'm not sure that that's fair. We started the Mining Council only 5 weeks ago, so I think it's incredibly impressive that we were able to collect data from a third of the Bitcoin miners in such a short period of time. And then we also did take a stab at extrapolating global mining energy, and we based on our assumptions and methodology, which is available on the Bitcoin Mining Council website, that the global picture is probably in the neighborhood of 56% of global miners using sustainable power overall.
Good morning. So the last time we had you on the show, afterwards, a viewer actually reached out to me with a sort of a follow-up question. So I thought I would just read this to you if you don't mind, and I'd like to hear your response. So this just came from a viewer, and he said, the problem is that Hut 8 is a dirty miner. They are 25% coal-fired and 70% nat gas. There are clean miners out there, but Hut 8 is not one of them yet. Every time they gloss over that fact with the CSO story or talk about the crypto climate accord. So I'm just curious how you would respond to that.
Yeah, so all of our mining operations are in the province of Alberta. Alberta historically is a province that's focused on, that has had natural gas and coal. They've done a ton of work moving the majority of the coal offline, and the rest is set to come off over the next few years. And Alberta's made a ton of investments in renewable energy. It now sources 20% of the grid in Alberta comes from solar and wind. And we're proud to be in Alberta. We're proud to be working in a jurisdiction that is taking seriously the evolution and making the investments into sustainable and renewable power. We have hired a head of power and sustainability here at Hut 8 Mining. I took over the helm at the beginning of December, and we're actively building a framework, not just on the E of ESG, but the entire landscape of ESG. So we're looking at how we can interact with the environment, with the social and governance sides of the narrative, and we're going to build out a framework that's open and transparent about our energy use, about our waste, and that's where we're coming from. We're not ashamed to be in Alberta. We're proud to be in Alberta. We're proud to be working with the local government as they continue to green the grid. And we're looking for new and creative ways that we can take advantage of that as well. And of course, we're looking at a program to involve carbon offsets and build out a framework for us to become more sustainable over time as well.
Jaime, welcome back. From a numbers point of view, though, and this is very much related, ultimately, the use of energy. Does the amount of energy spent on mining, that is used in mining, does it make sense for the few amount of transactions that are actually processed? Not few just in number, but also few in terms of value relative to the energy spent to process those transactions?
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about the Bitcoin mining's energy use, and that's something that we spent a lot of time on in the report that came out last night. Bitcoin mining energy use is only 0.117% when compared to the world's total energy. And I think this is such an important conversation to have about the value of Bitcoin and what it can bring to the world and to the global economy.
Right, but that's projecting out to the future. I'm talking about now, currently, given what is in the network, given what is actually done on Bitcoin itself. Does the amount of energy justify what is actually being processed? Or is it relative to other alternatives that people have in the market? Granted, there are reasons why people would use Bitcoin, but for the most part, if it's to transfer money, aren't there more efficient ways, not just on Bitcoin, not just in terms of the fiat moving money around using, let's say, credit cards, but even other networks in crypto relative to Bitcoin? Aren't there more efficient means of doing that? Does Bitcoin justify its massive energy use for the few transactions that it currently does?
Again, I don't think 0.117% is massive energy.
That's looking at the global. That's not talking about dollar for dollar, dollar expenses versus dollar use. Doesn't make sense. Not its global impact.
Absolutely, it makes sense. I think the power of Bitcoin, the hardness of Bitcoin, the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, the security of Bitcoin is unmatched as a store of value.